Sabine Wren is a character from the animated TV series Star Wars Rebels, and soon in a Disney Plus's new show, ASHOKA, which premieres on August 23, 2023. Star Wars Rebels is set in the period between the prequel and the original trilogies, when the Galactic Empire's grip on the galaxy is tightening and a group of rebels fight against their oppressive rule. Sabine stands out immediately with her vibrant appearance. She's a Mandalorian, a warrior culture known for their distinct armor and fierce combat skills. What's remarkable about Sabine is her artistic talent, specifically her prowess as a graffiti artist. Her love for self-expression is a unique trait that sets her apart from other Mandalorians. But Sabine isn't just an artist, she's also a skilled fighter who specializes in demolition. Her combat skills, honed by Mandalorian training, make her an invaluable asset on the battlefield. She's proficient in various weapons and hand-to-hand combat techniques, making her a force to be reckoned with. Sabine also has proven skills in engineering and technical prowess, ingenious in fact. And even though she's tough and independent, she's also a loyal friend and a caring member of her rebel family. Prior to joining the Rebels, Sabine was studying at the Imperial Academy on Mandalore. Despite her artistic talents, she became disillusioned with the Empire's oppressive tactics and its disregard for the lives of innocent beings. This realization fueled her desire for change and justice, prompting her to take a stand against the regime she once served. After coming to this conclusion, Sabine ran away from the academy with her best friend, Ketsu Onyo. A year or so later, after running away from the Imperial Academy and going different ways with Ketsu, Sabine's path crossed with the Ghost Crew, a group of rebels who fought against the Empire's tyranny. Sabine saw this as an opportunity to make a real difference and fight for a cause she believed in. Joining the Ghost Crew marked a turning point in her life, as she found herself surrounded by like-minded individuals who became her new family. What makes Sabine's journey so compelling is her growth throughout the series. She starts as somewhat a mysterious and guarded individual, carrying the weight of her past and her family's history. As the show progresses, we see her grapple with her own identity and heritage. This inner conflict is something many of us can relate to, the struggle to define ourselves while reconciling our history and the expectations placed upon us. One of my favorite arcs for Sabine's is her struggle with guilt and her ultimate redemption, which brings us to the story of Sabine and the Arc Pulse Generator, a creation of Sabine's ingenious mind. The Duchess, what the Arc Pulse Generator was later named, was a testament to her technical prowess and innovative thinking. It was a device designed to incapacitate energy sources and disrupt electronic systems on a massive scale. The weapon had the potential to cripple fleets, rendering even the most advanced starships helpless. While initially intended to aid her people, the Mandalorians, in their fight against the oppressive Galactic Empire, the weapon's devastating capabilities held consequences that Sabine had not fully comprehended. As the weapon's power was demonstrated, the consequences became tragically evident. The Arc Pulse Generator found its way into Imperial hands, leading to its deployment against Mandalorian forces. The weapon targeted the Beskar alloy used in Mandalorian armor, superheating it, resulting in a disintegration of the Mandalorians wearing it. The guilt Sabine felt was overwhelming, as her creation had been turned against her own people, leading to the destruction of the Mandalorian army she had hoped to protect. Sabine's journey towards redemption was a central theme in her character arc. The weight of her guilt pushed her to take responsibility for her actions and find a way to right her wrongs. She embarked on a mission to retrieve the weapon's plan, intending to use her expertise to disable the threat she had inadvertently unleashed. The path was not only a demonstration of her technical acumen, but also an embodiment of her commitment to correcting the course of history. Another important arc in Sabine's journey is that of with the Dark Saber. Sabine's connection to the Dark Saber became a pivotal element of her story. As she wielded the ancient weapon, she faced not only the external challenges of leadership, but also the internal struggle of living up to the Mandalorian traditions. The Darksaber had a history of being passed down through generations, and it was a symbol of Mandalore's united leadership. However, Sabine felt the weight of responsibility and her own doubts about being the rightful leader. She recognized that her possession of the Darksaber was causing division among her people, as some questioned her legitimacy. Amid this turmoil, Sabine's commitment to Mandalore's freedom remained unwavering, and she sought a way to unite her people under a strong and respected leader. This brings us to Bo-Katan Kryze, a warrior and leader who had previously wielded the Darksaber and had a deep understanding of its significance. Bo-Katan's leadership was rooted in the experience and legacy of resistance against Imperial rule. Sabine recognized that Bo-Katan was the natural choice to lead the Mandalorians in their fight for liberation. In a poignant and selfless moment, Sabine made the difficult decision to hand over the Darksaber to Bo-Katan. This act symbolizes her commitment to the greater good of Mandalore and its people. It also showcased Sabine's growth from an artist and a rebel fighter to the leader who prioritized unity and the well-being of her people over her own personal desires. The exchange between Sabine and Bo-Katan was a powerful one, filled with respect for the Darksaber's legacy and the shared goal of liberating Mandalore. Sabine's decision to give up the Darksaber was a testament to her selflessness and her understanding of what was the best for her people. It was a moment that showcased her growth from a young rebel with artistic talents to a mature leader who understood the complexities of her role and the sacrifices required for the greater good. Sabine's story mirrors a lot of our Star Wars heroes because of her strong values and resilience. She believes in fighting for justice and freedom, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Her determination and courage are qualities rebels and Jedis alike thrive to be. Alright guys, now that you know a little bit more about Sabine Wren, let's talk about Sabine in comics and her important appearances, more or less her first appearance. So there's a discussion about her first appearance, and people argue that it could be in canon number 1, it could be in canon number 5, and it can be in canon number 6. I'm not going to tell you which one is her cameo and which one is her first appearance. I'm going to let you decide. So let's talk about canon number 1. So here you can see we have the cover A for the first print, which has the blue background, and we have the cover A for the second print, which has the black background. And here is the panel from canon number 1 that shows Sabine here on the left, and she's actually saying something. She's not named, but we do see the side of her head, and she does have a voice. It's up to you to call that her cameo, and it's up to you to call that if it is her very well first appearance. But there are a few variants for canon number 1. So right here, we see the 1 in 10 variant. We see Kanan here posed out the way he visually looked in Star Wars Rebels. And then we have this 1 in 25. And this book should be the one if you really want to dig deep into Kanan number 1, because this is the hardest one to find, this 1 in 25. So if you're on the lookout for this, this is probably the one you'd want. Next, we have this BAM exclusive, and we have Vader, the Emperor, and a Stormtrooper. This is a semi-hard one to find, and you can find this on eBay, or you might be able to find it in shops as well. And then we have the Scotty Young variant, which is a very popular one because Scotty Young is popular, and it is a pretty dope portrayal of Kanan when he was young, slicing up some droids. Next, we have Kanan number 5, which is probably the most affordable out of Kanan 1, 5, and 6. And I'm going to slide over the panel that has Sabine in it and the rest of the Ghost crew. And as you can see, we have Sabine here on the right, smiling as Kanan flirts with Hera, or Hera flirts with Kanan. And next, we have Kanan number 6, which is probably the most sought after out of all 3 and the most expensive. And I think it's because of the cover, and we have the entire Ghost crew on this cover, and we have Sabine here as well, which is probably her first appearance on a regular size comic. But she appears in at least 4 pages of this book, and as you can see, she's blown up on this panel right here, the entire Ghost crew on this 2 pages right here. It's one panel, and she actually speaks. And on the second page, as you turn this over, she actually speaks again where she says it doesn't matter, Tarkin Town's counting on us. And right next to that, you can see that Kanan actually says her name. So if you were to walk up to me in the con and say, Hood, which one should I buy? Number 1, number 5, or number 6? I'd say buy them all, because if you're a Sabine Wren fan like me, you're going to have them all. Another interesting book you should keep an eye out on is Star Wars Rebels Magazine number 1 from December of 2015. This is actually her very first appearance in a comic form panel, and she's actually here on the cover. But this is not her first cover appearance on a magazine. And a very, very interesting book to keep an eye out if you are a Sabine fan is this mini-sized comic handed out not by Marvel, but by Lego of all corporations. This was handed out at San Diego Comic-Con 2015 at their booth. I was lucky enough to get one because I was a Rebels fan way back then. And I saw this and I was like, I got to have one for myself. So I actually have one of these. And I was there when they handed it out on July in 2015, which predates that Rebels magazine, which was sold on December 2015. And as you can see, the entire crew is on this cover, but in Lego form. And as I show you some of the panels, you can see the entire crew here as well, and as well as Sabine. So, the very first appearance in Lego form or in any form is this mini-sized comic handed out by Lego. Again, at San Diego Comic-Con 2015, which outdates Kanan and outdates the Star Wars Rebels magazine number 1 from November/December 2015. And last but not least, another sought-after magazine by Sabine fans and Sabine collectors is this Star Wars Insider, sold on October 2016. And this is a variant cover that was a special order cover that you had to order in advance from your comic shop. And it is a great cover of Sabine, as you can see, and it is very rare and it is very expensive. But this is like probably the cover that we all love the most of Sabine. Sabine is most likely going to become a formidable character in Star Wars since she's showing up in ASHOKA. Who would be my best guess, my best speculation of a character showing up in her life? And that probably would be Ketsu Onyo. We briefly talked about Ketsu earlier, and Ketsu is probably Sabine's second best friend next to Ezra. They both attended the Imperial Academy together. They both escaped the Imperial Academy together. They ran together as bounty hunters. You know, they wanted to become part of the Black Sun Syndicate, but Ketsu moved on as they split, and she became a contractor with the Black Sun Syndicate when Sabine went to the Rebels. During one of the jobs that Ketsu had for the Black Sun, she had to recover a droid courier. And that's when she ran into Sabine again. And you can actually watch that in Blood Sisters and the Star Wars Rebels show. Their meeting was pretty intense. You know, they had some bad feelings, but they put their differences aside and their feelings aside to survive and attacked the Empire together and got what they needed. In the end, you know, they made up. And Sabine asked Ketsu to become part of the Rebels, but Ketsu rejected it, rejected the offer to join up with the rebellion, but she said just for the time being. Some of the fandom that around Sabine and Ketsu have them more than just, you know, platonic friends. And as you can see here, like, you know, there's a vast amount of, you know, fans of Sabine and Ketsu that want them to have a non-platonic relationship. Besides Blood Sisters and besides Star Wars Rebels, the show, where did Ketsu Onyo show up in comic books? Well, she actually hasn't shown up in comic books yet. Her first appearance comes from this Star Wars Rebels magazine that was sold in Germany, of all places. And in this comic book, there is a comic called The Second Chance. And here are some panels from that comic. As you can see, this is Ketsu Onyo's first appearance in comics. And this is a very, very rare book. Very rare book. I've only seen this once on the internet, and I lost to the bidding. But if you live in Germany, hey, man, scour those dollar magazine, books and see if you can find it, man, because this is a very hard book to find. So this is Star Wars Rebels magazine from March 2017, sold in all places, a place that's far, far away from me, Germany. This is your boy Hood, thanking you for joining me on this journey I took you on about Sabine Wren. Make sure you like and subscribe, and may the force be with y'all. Peace.